Hey, we're back again with another episode of the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And we're glad that you're tuning in with us as part of the Press Play Podcast Network. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out right now. Actually, after this episode.
Yeah, don't cut.
You're on the
out.
edge of your seat right now, listening.
Is that what you think's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's
you
wife
can
is
live in
trying
that
to
world.
talk to him. He's like, shut up. You shut up. The Ball Card Show's on.
Oh man, I hope not. If you're yelling at your wife to stop talking to you because you're listening to us, first we're flattered. Second, don't do that.
Yeah, and there's somewhere out there a wife that's just like, and her husband's like, babe, shut up.
I'm listening to the Ball
You
Card
can
Show.
also shut up. And then they realized they were sitting on the same couch with AirPods in, both trying to listen to the Ball Card Show.
I feel like I would bet all of my money that has never happened.
That was kind of like at the movie Inception, what I just did.
Is it?
I think so. Anyway, we're glad that you're tuning in with us. We're off to a great start.
Yeah. So I discovered, and we give shout outs to all these brands, and we don't get any money from them in return.
Well, we don't ask for any money. That's part of the reason.
Well, hey, Old Smoky, we want your money.
We have not because we ask not.
Well, I just asked.
It's in the Bible.
Okay. I don't think that's true.
Somebody lied to me at a mainstream evangelical church.
So anyhow, Old Smoky.
I bought Kenneth Copeland a jet, so
Oh,
I
no.
should get. Just kidding.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Demons in the tube.
Stop.
Tyler Perry gave me the plane. So tonight, instead of Garth Brooks, I'm just going to quote televangelists.
Please don't.
Okay, I won't.
I don't want to play that game. So Old Smoky has been known for their relatively weak gas station moonshine, right?
Or there's stuff that you can get at their actual distilleries.
Which is crazy high proof.
Yeah.
Nothing in between.
But it's not like considered like it's
Good.
Like,
No, it's not good. It'll just mess you up.
it's like the Nickelback of moonshine.
Yeah, right. So not a huge fan of most of that stuff, but I was at the liquor store last week and was picking something up for a gathering, and lo and behold, in their American whiskeys section, not in those weird jars that are 40 proof, actual whiskey, they had 3 or 4 different versions of Old Smoky whiskey.
This story's going to get good, guys. Just keep hanging in there.
So I saw Mango Habanero, and I was instantly intrigued. And so I bought it, and I brought it to your house, and we proceeded to demolish it.
And what did I say when you brought that in?
You went, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It's amazing.
It's pretty great.
It's so good. So if you're looking for a new whiskey to try, especially as a mixer, like we do it with a couple shots of that, some triple sec, orange juice, some Sprite, crazy great summer drink.
Maybe 4 ounces of Bud Light on top.
Oh, you did that. I wasn't ready to play that game. Give it a shot. It's really, really good. We're enjoying some as we podcast with you.
Yeah, let's take a sip right now.
Yes, sir.
I always thought it sounded disgusting when you could hear people drinking, but it always makes me thirsty when I'm listening to a podcast and I hear that too. Old Smoky, hit us up.
Yeah.
We're so cheap right now.
As a matter of fact, you can just pay us in whiskey.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'll play that game.
This episode's brought to you by Old Smoky. See how easy that was? And we bought the first bottle.
Right.
So,
First 3 bottles. That's how deep I am right now.
We don't need to be getting into specifics. We've got a hobby heavy podcast today. We're going to talk about a little bit of news rolling out. A couple big things that have happened. Let's start off with baseball. Huge announcement. As of 6:43 p.m., June the 2nd, the Reds do not have the losingest record as far as percentage goes.
In baseball?
In baseball. 0.347 win percentage right now.
Correct.
The Nationals have a .346. So I'd like to celebrate that without a single major league player other than Joey Votto, the Cincinnati Reds have... Stop.
Okay, I disagree, but
I'm
go
just
ahead.
frustrated, okay? I'm not
Tyler
gonna,
Stevenson's really good.
There's players, there's ball players.
Tommy
but
Pham is not.
You are making this hard for me.
Is this like when you were singing Garth Brooks every time I talked last week?
I will do the televangelist thing.
Go ahead.
I will.
Go.
I'll go Rod Parsley right now. You don't hear me. You don't hear me.
Go ahead.
Was that good?
No.
Because you don't hear me.
Okay.
I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Reds
are not the losingest team, and they hung 20 runs on the Cubs last week.
Yeah. Wasn't that part of a doubleheader?
We don't need to get into specifics. So, speaking of baseball, let's just jump right in. Big thing, hot off the press. If you're listening to this anywhere reasonably close to when we released it, Topps is doing some interesting things with their distributors. Why don't you go ahead and break down what's happening? This is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So basically, what has occurred is that Topps has let their distributors know, and this isn't my understanding. This is not their direct accounts. It's just their distributors. That going forward, they will be receiving 50% of the product that they have in the past. That's a big cut. And they're not lowering production by 50%. They're just giving distributors 50% less, which means that other 50% has to go somewhere. And I think the assumption right now is, and the speculation is that it is going to be along the Fanatics model of direct to consumer. And Topps has always done some direct to consumer stuff, but it's been like 10% of the print run. And on any type of hot product, it sells out quickly. Mm-hmm. Going forward, I think that it could be a very good thing for the hobby as a whole, because it might get prices. Now, that's assuming that Fanatics isn't going to try to price stuff in Crazyville, but they haven't so far with Topps products this year. The market has kind of determined the price points of things as it should. So I think that in general, it's going to be good for the hobby. If you are a baseball collector, I would go ahead and make sure that you set up an account on Topps.com. And I would make sure you turn on notifications so you know when new products get dropped, and be able to buy stuff without having to use a bot or chase things down, or, have to be refreshing the page for 20 minutes leading up to drop times.
Right.
So,
anything with collectibles, it's not anything that's desirable and collectible. It doesn't just have to be sports cards. By nature, there's going to be a lot of demand, right? So it's not going to be super accessible, but it is a little interesting to me how far back this industry is when it comes to direct-to-consumer options and purchasing online. Now, we had Crazyville through COVID with sports cards, so I think that impacted it. But overall, it still kind of has a brick-and-mortar vibe.
For sure.
And then it was just kind of assumed by most collectors, especially people back into collecting or newer collectors, that, no, breaking's just how it has to happen. So by them cutting back, is it going to have an impact on breakers that don't have direct allocations? It's going to have an impact on breakers who just thought it was going to be easy to 5X or 6X their money on a break. It's going to have that impact there.
Well, and I think that one of the things that's really important to keep in mind with Topps, not so much with Panini, Topps, as far as I am aware, does not have very many, if any, direct relationships with people that are just breakers. Now, they do have direct relationships with brick and mortar card shops who are also big breakers. Mojo Break is a good example of that. That company is a brick and mortar card shop, but they also do huge amounts of their business online via breaks, which they do a really good job with breaks, and they're pretty reasonably priced if you're looking for somebody to break with. They're just on the West Coast, so if you're in Middle America or the East Coast, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get your stuff. But other than that, they do a good job. But for the most part, Topps only has direct relationships with brick and mortar shops for the most part. Panini's a little different. They have some that they do direct stuff through as breakers, because back in the day, a lot of people don't realize, all the people who came into this hobby during COVID, they've picked up the nickname COVID collectors, don't realize there was a time recently, like 3-4 years ago, where I could spend $100 with my Secretary of State, set up an LLC, get a vendor's license, and call any distributor that I wanted to and say, hey, I want an account. And they would say, cool, how much do you want? And you could say, I want 5 cases of Bowman. And they would go, cool, here it is at $30 a box. Enjoy. Like, that was the hobby. It's not that anymore. So, there was a time when breakers could get direct relationships.
Well, and some of what's happening too, just some, they'll remain unnamed, but multiple breakers that I do know have recently seen some of this coming in the last couple of years, and they have set up, I don't know if I'd call it a brick and mortar shop, but they have a physical address
that can be
with a display counter that's on Google Maps that they pay rent for and taxes on, and all in hopes of improving allocations, even with distributors. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. If I'm somebody that's been in the breaking industry, I'm not announcing it because I don't want to freak any customers out, but I am really curious. Fanatics, is going to have a massive impact, the direction they move, the direct-to-consumer push. Like, your customer service needs to really improve. And I think that's why a lot of these live platforms like Whatnot, which we're on, plug for us. If you're listening to this right after we drop it, we're going to be online with a quick sale for you. But that experience of being live in the moment, opening packs, building community in that way is going to be very important. Those relationships within the hobby are going to matter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys that just popped up on Facebook and going live, they're going to have a hard time getting stuff. And the stuff they do get is going to be way more expensive.
Well, that's right there the key. And so breakers for the last 3 years, especially ones that have had allocations, have been rolling in cash. I don't know that y'all understand the type of cash that some of these big breakers have been rolling in. I mean, you're talking 4 to 6x.
I'm putting you on the spot. Could we pick a product and you kind of ballpark what they've been able to do with it? Let's say they had a direct allocation, which is not super common. So guys like Mojo Break, they recently did an interview with Sports Cars Nonsense, Mike Gio, Jesse, the sports boy, and they said that most of their stuff is through a distributor, but they do get one case direct.
Yep.
So let's take. Could we take a product like, maybe like last year's Prizm Football would be a good example.
We'll flagship it. Yeah.
Just kind of ballpark it, but give people an idea what that would be like for somebody with a direct allocation.
Yeah. So last year, Prizm Football at True Wholesale direct allocation was $235 a box. And that was drastically higher than it had been in the past. 2019, it was like $135, right? So a case, a 12-box case, these guys were getting 2020 Prizm Football on direct allocation for right about $2,800. Okay, that stuff was routinely breaking at $1,200 to $1,300 a box. Mm-hmm. Jason was asking me before the episode, we were talking about some of this stuff. I was able to buy a couple of boxes of Prizm Football last year from my LCS that I have had a relationship with for a long time. For $500 a box. When it was first released, it was running about $850 a box and was breaking at $12 to $13. So that kind of gives you an idea of the money these guys have been making.
And then if you consider like a more premium product, like a National Treasures.
National Treasures.
They're printing money.
Oh, yeah. So National Treasures True Wholesale, last year, I believe on a 2-box case was around $2,800, and they were breaking at $10,000. Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not me minimizing, because it's easy for us to say, "Oh, they get that. They're printing money. It's easy." No, it's not. To build an audience, to build a community, you have half of your collectors are going to be degenerate gamblers that are in a bad place every week, reaching out to you. People taking zeros. You're going to have cases that suck. And you just had to spend so much time and energy promoting it to a RPA or a one-of-one that's irrelevant. Like, there's a lot more to it. The time spent, I've organized my collection. The time I've spent sorting by team is exhausting. My back hurts. I don't know how I hurt my back sorting, but it isn't free money, but it was really good money.
So yeah, The thing that comes into play with it is this. Everything Jason said is very, very valid. But here's the new reality. If things play out the way that it seems that they are going to, breakers are going to be faced with a choice, and it's a choice that they're not going to like. It's a choice that the small-time breakers, the Facebook groups that do a lot of retail breaks or single hobby box breaks, things like that, and there's a lot of really good guys that do that, good humans that do that. They've been dealing with that for, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
They're going to have to decide, do I want to make any money or do I want to not fill breaks?
Yeah.
Because the fact that I'm going to be able to probably buy a hobby box of something on Topps website for actual MSRP, or I can get into a hobby case break with one team for about the same amount of money, I'm probably just going to take the hobby box.
Yeah.
It's not like it was when it was, well, I can buy a hobby box for $1,500 or I can get into this multi-case break or this case break on a team for $300.
Right.
It's not going to be an equivalent thing. So these guys are going to have to decide, are we willing to make less money or do we just want to have breaks stay open for a week at a time?
Or what I'm hopeful for is the consumer experience is elevated. So guys are going to say, all right, I may not have the same margins, but I can keep doing this at night for a living 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I have to create an experience for the consumer. I don't know exactly what that look like. I think they have to sweeten the pot a little bit. They're going to have to, get a little bit less greedy as it's more accessible. I think it's good for the consumer. I think it's going to be challenging for people that have been trying to get up and running for a while. But somebody lied to you if you thought it would just be because my Walmart's been accessible out in a rural area and I've been sliding somebody, a distributor, $200 every time I see him. Like, it's not that simple anymore.
No.
And it shouldn't be because it's kind of messed up. If I would have been able to get this retail all along, I'd be the one complaining about what's happening. But my real complaint with Topps is Series 2.
Trash.
Series 2 checklist.
Bad.
It is terrible unless you love taking a gamble on pitchers.
The best hitter on this checklist is Juan Yepes.
Oh, we're talking rookies.
Yes. Is anybody buying hobby boxes for vets?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Old people.
Yeah, well.
Good news. Set builders.
Well, Series 2 is going to be pretty daggone cheap. I can tell you that. Yeah. The three best rookies in the product are pitchers. You got Joe Ryan. You got Shane Baz. And that kid can pitch, but he's recovering from an injury. And you got Spencer Strider.
I love Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan can pitch, man. That's crazy is his K to walk ratio is like 6-1.
Here's the other thing about him. It makes no sense at all, but he puts off big unit vibes.
Well, it's
just
because
his presence.
He's got that mullet.
Yeah.
And that just 70s porn star mustache.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a concert and you don't even know if you like the band, but the front man is able to just like have incredible stage presence.
Yeah.
He's got swag about him.
Yeah.
But we're reaching if we're saying Joe Ryan is worth buying hobby of Series 2.
Well, no, for sure. And again, this is pitchers in general. Just hold on to them because it's not like a hitter. If a hitter has a year where they have, they have a 30-30 season and they hit 290, and you can sell their stuff. A pitcher can go, 23-2 with a 2.8 ERA, and his stuff is still going to sell for a third of what a rookie hitter with 15 home runs and a 260 batting average is. Pitchers don't have value until they've been in the league for 10 to 12 years and established dominance. And that's okay, but just know that's what you're getting into. You made the comment before the episode when we were talking about this that I personally think that Series 2 is going to release on hobby boxes, not jumbos, hobbies. Will probably release at about 120. I think you'll be able to buy it for 80 to 90 within 2 or 3 weeks. It's bad. But at that price point,
what did I say?
You said it might not be a bad idea to just buy a couple of hobby boxes and stick them in the closet.
You never know.
And that's true because think about it this way. If Joe Ryan or Shane Baz or Spencer Strider turns into the next Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer, well, now you've got something, and you didn't have to sink a ton of money into it. It's not like you sunk $500 into a hobby box and it's sitting on a shelf for 10 years.
Or one of these guys gets super hot that nobody's even thinking about. And you got a little bit of the 2018 Topps vibes.
Yeah, you get random things like that, but the checklist is bad. There's no base cards for Bobby Witt or Julio Rodriguez or Spencer Torkelson. Those are the guys everybody thought was going to be there because they made the opening day rosters for their teams.
Topps has consistently done this, though. Who did they hold?
Not with opening day rosters. That's not if they made opening day. This is the first year.
Who's the one I'm thinking? Oh, Jordan.
Yeah.
Because he had the Rookie Cup rookie.
Yes. And same thing with Kellenick. He did as well.
Yep.
And so did Ryan Mountcastle. But the difference is these guys made the opening day roster. Now, I'm not going to go and say that I think Topps is trying to hold guys for whatever product. I think realistically what probably has been the case is that with all of the still supply chain issues and everything else, that they felt the need to get their card list and print list out to the printer prior to opening day, and they didn't know if those guys were going to be on rosters at that point. The positive to all this was Series 2 being a bad checklist. So there will be Bobby Witt and Julio Rodriguez auto cards.
Well, and here's the other thing.
But they're limited to the 87 throwback mojos, so they're going to be insanely tough.
And they'll be big hits.
Oh, they'll be massive.
You'll be able
hits.
to. It'll be like so it's going to be considered. I mean, it'd be like the most SP.
Yeah, and I guess there's also still a chance. And one of the things that Topps does do a good job of, there's a chance that they may have before collation. So for anybody that cares, if this is too deep in the weeds, just tell me to shut up.
You're getting close.
So
Doesn't
the
matter.
printing happens. The printing happens well before collation happens. Okay, so these sheets are printed and the sheets are stacked and just set aside until it's time to cut and collate. There's a chance that they could do some like short print variations. They've done that before. They did that with Kellenick last year. There could be some short print variations of like Bobby Witt, Julio Rodriguez, or Spencer Torkelson because we don't have the short print checklist yet. So that's a chance that could happen. That's what they did in 18 with Series 2. So there's a chance that could happen. If that happens, then you've got some value there. But all that tells us that Update is going to be freaking loaded. And what's really great about Update is Update Chrome is a retail-only product. There's no hobby boxes. So there could be a lot of value in, especially if some of these guys really continue to heat up like Julio Rodriguez.
Those are going to be fun breaks when people are like, hey, I have a case of blasters here.
Well, yeah, and they're technically megas, but yes, if 30 or 40 of them do a case. And their Update Chrome has always been a fun product. Last year's was junk because there was nothing in it. Like the best card you could hit was Jonathan India. And I hate to say it, but he's turned into exactly what I said he was going to turn into, which is a slightly above average big leaguer.
I got to take him off my shelf.
I mean, good for him. He'll have a long career and he'll make a lot of money, but hobby-wise, he's going to be irrelevant. So, but yeah, Chrome and Topps Chrome, that'll be the other thing. Is Topps Chrome already printed, or are we going to get a couple of these guys slid into Topps Chrome, or will it all be held for update? We don't know yet.
So, flip side of everything we're talking about with Series 2 is that if people are set builders, if people have kids they want to get in the hobby with, if people love to hit autos, keep an eye on the Topps hobby jumbo boxes. If those get cheap, rip them all day. Have fun with it.
I'm guessing they'll be 160, 170.
Yeah.
And there is, this is Topps doing market crap. There is another Wander rookie card labeled in this set, which means there will be some SPs as well.
So, I mean, you still have autos to chase. You still have vet autos. There's cool stuff. You got your shiny packs.
And it should be pretty cheap.
Yeah, it should be cheap. So, I think we've said all we can say about that. Update will be loaded.
Yes.
Let's move on to Prizm Football, releasing at $1,500 a box.
Yeah. First off the line, released last week.
144 cards,
Yeah,
$1,500.
Yeah, it's insane. I go back to, I was buying inner cases of Prizm Football, 2019 Prizm Football, at $160 a box.
2019 Prizm, multiple times, I saw full racks of retail blasters.
Yeah.
Untouched. Nobody wanted to mess with it.
Megas, same. Yep. Like, and even last year, 2020, I bought a couple hobby boxes for $500 a piece. I don't know how anyone can reasonably think that they will get their money back. Yeah, it's $10 a card, $10.50 a card
For Prizm.
Yeah, like I don't know how anybody thinks they could reasonably get their money back ripping a hobby box of Prizm. I don't know how anybody could reasonably think they're going to get 30% of their money back ripping a hobby box of Prizm.
So let's play this game a little bit. I haven't looked off of online at first off the line what those first hits are selling for. There's some cool shimmers, some SPs, a lot of color, and first off the line is what we're seeing on the breaks. I watched a lot on Whatnot, but $10 a card. So let's say one of the big things they're saying with each box, hobby boxes, there's 4 silvers this year. What was last year? 2 silvers?
Yeah.
So they double the number of silvers in there, so you increase the odds, but the odds of you hitting a Mac Jones or T-Law silver are slim to none. But let's say you hit that. Not even the auto, just a silver. Typically out of a hobby box, you're going to be pretty excited about that. In this case, you're going to be 1/5 of the way, maybe 1/4 of the way to getting your money back.
Yeah. Well, to give you an idea, think about it this way. I'm looking at eBay right now. There is an auction that ends in 16 minutes. Panini Prizm Mac Jones, who's probably the quarterback that everybody wants more than anybody else, right? Although I personally think Davis Mills is the guy. I've been hyping him for months. So, yeah, I'll continue to do so. Mac Jones Hyper Green of 175. So, pretty low numbered card. It's $350. I mean, the auction will probably end at about $420, $440.
Here's what sucks, though. I love Prizm football.
I love Prizm in general, but I don't love it at the price point that Panini is shoving it down our throats at. So the moral of the story is this. If you want to buy some Prizm cards, cool. Buy singles.
Singles, or if you're doing a break, do PYT. Pick exactly who you want. Pay the premium, or if you want a bargain team, go for it, but it is super loaded as far as the rookie class goes. That's a trade-off, and Panini knows this. This next year's will have some gems in it, but there's not going to be the excitement around it.
Oh, no.
So, the quarterback class is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's still speculative, though. It's
hobby
related.
It is.
Yeah, but they sell well, but there's still a reasonable chance that all 5 of the first round guys are going to be nothing more than average NFL players.
Well, sure.
None of them showed what we saw from Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert. Most of them showed what we saw from Tua.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have to.
I mean,
there's a lot of quarterbacks you could have gone with.
There are, but that was the one that was the easiest. That was the easiest. So the point being, if you're buying hobby boxes of Prizm to rip, you're doing it wrong. If you're buying hobby boxes of Prizm to stick on a shelf, you're probably not going to lose money.
Also, if you're independently wealthy, rip as many boxes as you want.
Yeah, if you're independently wealthy, go insane. Have fun. Believe me, if I was independently wealthy, if I had millions and millions of dollars sitting in the bank, I would rip cases of product because I really enjoy ripping. But if you're ripping product with the idea that you're hopefully going to hit something that will at least help you recover a lot of the cost of the product, Prizm's going to be really freaking hard to do that in. Really hard to do that in. And it's something to really keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind with Prizm is, they have a lot of variations in short prints and numbered stuff, but the autos, they're all sticker. There's no on-card Prizm autos. They're all sticker. It's just at $1,500 a box. I just don't see how it makes any sense at all. I don't even know how many breaks I'll get into with Prizm, mostly because the Texans have started to get a little bit more expensive. I used to jump into 2021 football breaks all the time because I could get the Texans for $6, $8, $12, and I've liked Davis Mills since day one. If you guys have listened to the podcast for 2 years we've been doing it, you've heard me talk about Davis Mills a lot.
This brings up a good point. It really does pay you, literally, to enjoy prospecting a little bit. Just spend a little time reading. You can get misleading information But read some articles, the boring stuff. Here's what they did. Here's how he's looking. Here's what he's producing. Here's what the coaches are saying. Like, it matters. You spend 30 minutes on the 5 quarterbacks you're interested in. I mean, that's not a lot of time for you to get an idea. And it's kind of fun to find somebody, like for you finding the Mills, is like, I like this person. I'm going to collect them. And if they pop in 2 or 3 years, great. If not,
I'm not out much.
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing I would tell you to do is this. And Jason gives me a hard time, just like I give him a hard time when we talk about our previous athletic endeavors. If you know somebody in your life that's around you who knows a sport that you care about, they've coached it, they played it at a high level, whatever it is, talk to them. Say, hey, what do you see when you look at this? For me, I feel very, very comfortable judging quarterbacks. I feel very comfortable with it, and my hit rate is really good.
I feel really comfortable judging competitive eaters.
That'll be the next V Friends set from
Joey Chestnut 101.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's not a bad.
If Zero Cool dropped a competitive eating set, I would probably buy some of it.
It'd be better than that horrible Jackass product.
Yeah.
The box is great though.
Yeah.
The packaging. Actually, now that I think about it, I might buy some of that.
Well, the Jackass stuff.
Yeah.
I would totally buy a competitive eating product like that. Would
grade
be cool.
Every one of them.
like a game used chunk of hot dog, just all moldy and stuff, just in the cart. That would be really cool. Anyway,
so $1,500 box. You're forced to do PYT. What teams are you looking at?
Well, the Texans would be a team that I would look at. There's not a lot. Like I like Trevor Lawrence long term, but everybody else has started to figure out that most of his issues last year were Urban Meyer related and dysfunctional franchise related. So his stuff has started to really fly up. I don't know how I feel about Trey Lance. A team that I kind of really like the rookies for last year, that you can still get pretty cheap, is Detroit. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is legit. And now that the Lions have Jameson Williams as well, I think that he's going to continue to be good. And if you can get some of his short stuff, it'll be solid. You know, those are probably the 2 teams that I would jump on the most. But like the big quarterback team, even the Bengals, Jamar Chase is a monster, and I get it.
There'll be some sick Jamar Chase cards.
There will, but man, the Bengals are expensive for not having a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a single box break, and they were like $130.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh. Like,
what's a Jamar Chase raw going to pull?
$20, 25.
It'll do a little better than that the first week, but yeah.
I mean, Davis Mills is going for $15 right now. You think Jamar Chase is going for more than a quarterback?
I think he has more hobby love, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He is so freaking entertaining that he's gonna yeah. So the whole point with the Prizm is you're gonna get more silvers, but you're gonna pay a ton of money.
Through the nose.
Ton of money. I'm playing the retail game on Prizm.
Yeah, me too. Like I'll stock Walmart, I'll stock Meijer.
Bowman gave me hope because it's been so good consistently in retail this year. But
just keep in mind 2 different manufacturers.
Very different.
Yeah.
It's a different game. I forgot to tell you this.
What's that?
CSG with a price increase.
Yeah, I saw that.
You did.
What did they take bulk up to? I saw there was an increase,
bulk
but I didn't
is
see
still
how much
15.
it was. So bulk was 12, so they
All
took
right,
it to 15.
Economy 25, standard 35, express 70, walkthrough 150, unlimited walkthrough, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's cool because at least with CSG, they don't try to bend you over based on the value of your card.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Anyway.
FPSA.
NBA Finals kicking off. If you're listening to this right away, it's tonight. It is Thursday, June the 2nd, as I've previously stated. And what are you thinking? I was right about where the matchup would be, but it was down to the wire.
Yeah, I really thought that Jimmy Butler has earned the right to try to be a hero. I just wish he had attacked the rim and tied the game. Because I think if they had such a comeback, if they tie the game and it goes to overtime, they win.
Yeah.
I think, and that happens in the NBA a lot when there's a big comeback. The team that came back just has the momentum, and he just decided to pull up and chuck that 3 up, and that ended it. If he hits it, he's a hero. I still don't know if they win if that happens because there's so much time left on the clock. I think you play for the last shot there and tie it up and try to go to overtime, but he's earned the right to do that. You made the comment it was a very J.R. Smith move. It was, but
with a lot more credibility.
Yes, that's exactly right. Like it's Jimmy Butler taking that shot. The other thing that was really impressive to me is they made that comeback without Tyler Herro. Like Tyler Herro tried to play in that game early on, and you could just tell he couldn't really move very much. And he didn't after the second quarter. He didn't see the court again. So,
more like Tyler Zero.
Well, I just know Jimmy Butler. I made this.
He's gonna move over it that fast. It was bad.
It was bad. I was trying to help you.
The thunder rolls.
No, so I mean,
and the lightning strikes.
I made this comment on Facebook during
keep
that
going
game.
Like I'm not singing guard.
Yes. I don't care how much you like the Heat, hate the Heat. I don't care how much you like Jimmy Butler, hate Jimmy Butler. If you're watching any of that series and you can't appreciate and respect the way that Jimmy Butler plays the game of basketball, you aren't a basketball fan. Period. Like, that dude laid it out there. And it wasn't enough because he didn't have much around him, but, man, he laid it out there.
Yeah, well, enough about the losers. Let's talk about the finals.
Okay.
I've got the Warriors in 6.
I think it's
How does that feel?
I think the Warriors win the series unless – the only way I think the Warriors lose the series is if somebody key gets dinged up. And when I say key, I'm not even talking about Steph as much as I am like Draymond or Jonathan Kuminga. Like, the Warriors aren't a great defensive team. They're okay, and they've got guys that can make stops.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If one of those guys goes down, it may be bad.
I think the Warriors will completely blow one game, and it'll be. It's happened twice in the playoffs, right? Where they had one where it was just like, "What team is this?"
Yeah.
So they'll have one of those. Steve Kerr will be like, "Guys, come here."
Yeah.
I'm freaking Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I think it's the Warriors.
No, you shut up, Steph. You shut up. Put that mouth guard back there. Right now, you shut your mouth.
I'll take a drink. You talk.
Yep. He's going to be like, listen, guys. I'm Steve Kerr. Yes, the Steve Kerr. You might have seen me in The Last Dance. Also, I win championships. Let's be consistent. I'm feeling this mango habanero whiskey right now.
Nothing that's happening right now is entertaining. I thought you were going somewhere with this.
I am.
Okay.
That's what Steve Kerr said.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Steve Kerr also loves habanero whiskey from Old Smoky, who will soon be our sponsor, which is the point of that whole story.
I think it's either the Warriors in 4 or it's a 6 or 7 game series. I don't see it being a 5 game series. So
4, 6, or 7 is your bet?
It's not going to be a 4-1 series is what I'm saying. I realistically, I think it's 4 or 7.
I'm going to game 6.
Okay.
How about this? $20 bet, game 6. And then you can have 4 or 7. That's how confident I feel.
Done.
All right.
Done. Doesn't matter who wins. It's just how long the series
let's
goes.
just see if I can win this.
Nope.
To a 10. No, okay.
Nice try. Good effort, though.
Well, that's all the sports cards nonsense stuff that I have to. No?
We're not sports cards nonsense.
Oh, no, I was saying just the term.
Yeah, but we don't want to pump those
guys
guys
up. I like
up.
them.
I like them, too, but like we've reached out to them to say, hey, let's be on each other's episodes and we've been ignored.
The difference is they're making a lot of money doing it.
That's fair. Our quality is better.
Oh, bro, I'm not doing that. That's not what this is.
I'll play that game.
I'm not doing this.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't like it.
That's fair.
I was just trying to be endearing.
You don't have to. Okay.
Gary's throwing shots.
Yeah, I'll throw a little shade. I don't care.
This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye.
Peace.